Hi all, welcome to this Player of the Month April Bundesliga SBC guide and predictions. Now the biggest talking point I would say for April is if Timo Werner wins, what rating will he be? That is kind of the big talking point I would take from this, because obviously he's got a 91-foot birthday, he's got obviously his informs and headliners, but it all comes down to what rating would they genuinely make his card. Like, do they put above the foot birthday? Do they put the same rating? Because I was trying to work that out for stats, and I would imagine in theory it should kind of fall at around 90 rating because of the what his latest inform is. But in case he was to suddenly bag like another inform, then it makes all the more interesting. Because I'm hoping and praying that they don't go mental with upgrades, because you never know, they may suddenly, you have to factor in team of the season as well, and you've got to keep that in mind with that going as well. But I would say, looking at this, I've got about 10 players that seems to stand out for the month. Nubel from Schalke. Now a lot of people would say, why Nubel? Now Schalke, yes, have been very, very poor this season, but Nubel this month alone has been very, very consistent. He's been averaging, he's around like 1.5 on kicker for like the month. I think if you were to completely break down the maths for the month, it works out I think like 1.166 or 1.7 I think, and he's like really one of the lowest rated players consistently for the month. When if you were to say, well, since one's the best, Nubel has consistently been one of the best goalkeepers in the month. And yes, he may not be the most appealing card in the world, but if you were to give him at least credit, he has a good chance of being a very nice, usable nice player of the month. Even he could have had at least an inform by now, which he would have definitely merited. But I would say Nubel would be the cheapest option, realistically looking at the month. Forsberg being standout for Leipzig, but saying that quite a lot of Leipzig have stood out this month, with Forsberg, Halstenberg and Werner just three of the players that stand out. And you've got to remember as well, all these players that, even though I'm mentioning them and featuring in this video, none of them are guaranteed to say win Player of the Month or also be the potential winner for the Player of the Month. Someone else may suddenly come in and take the award and it'd be like, well, I didn't expect that. But I'd rather at least give you an idea. I feel at least looking at these 10 players, someone from this will be the winner. Like Halstenberg's been very consistent throughout the month. I think I've had him in my team of the week once as in the full team, and I think I had him in my top possible I think once. So he's at least been there or thereabouts. Gnabry been very consistent for Bayern. Same with Kingsley Coman actually. Both of them have been very consistent. But Gnabry's stats for the month just put him ahead, just marginally. But I would still easily give Coman a mention at least. But Bayern, their difference maker game was that Dortmund result, the 5-0 hammering. That may make all the difference come Player of the Month, but I really hope it doesn't. I'm hoping the experts don't just base it on one game, and I hope the fans, depending who gets nominated, don't base it on that one game. If it's suddenly a Bayern player who's featured, like, oh, he's my Player of the Month, when say Belfodil, in all honesty, could merit it because he's been consistently averaging 1 and 1.5 throughout the month, and would be, yes, he won't be the most appealing card, but an 86 rated suddenly of him, I wouldn't exactly knock. And in all honesty, he's at least merited 2 informs in the space that he has, so he could suddenly go from 81 to 84, and suddenly a Player of the Month becomes an 87, and then you're looking at a much more appealing version of Belfodil. Guys like Mateta and Botius for mains have stood out in the month as well. Mateta obviously bagged an inform. Botius had a good shout in the same week for an inform. And the interesting thing is Botius has been playing like a cam role, I've noticed. So if he was to even be nominated or suddenly sneak in with a late rally. You never know, it may happen, but there's not a given. And in saying that, a cam version of Botius would actually be quite appealing for people that want something with a bit of pace, decent shooting, decent passing, decent dribbling, but maybe lacks a little in the physical, but obviously a chem style maybe help boost that up a little bit. But I think this month's Player of the Month predictions could generally go still anywhere with one game to go. But I know realistically I'm probably expecting Belfodil to be one of the front runners. Like, I slipped up with obviously not mentioning Cruz, but I think that was because I'd done it before the international break and I was trying to be organised. This time around it's kind of deja vu, where it could be Richter or Belfodil that gets the nod. But realistically, especially at this time of the year, and you've got to factor in as well, I would imagine when this drops live, we've got Team of the Seasons, we've got the Player of the Month for the EPL, there'll probably be Player of the Month for the MLS kicking about. There'll be so much other content that this Player of the Month could easily, one, just fall under the radar, two, be very very cheap, and three, just be like, people like, oh, didn't even know that, like completely forget about it and just passing it as it were. Like, I'll be honest, none of them, like, Werner would genuinely be maybe Werner or Sancho, in my honest opinion, would be the only two that would actually give any sort of excitement to me to say I would want those cards. Like Werner, I would hope would be above his foot birthday, but I can't see it. I think they'll cap it maybe 90 or 91 rated, and like Sancho, we would assume would go to an 87. But if he's going to get a Team of the Season card, it becomes pretty redundant. And if he was to win, say, if Bundesliga were to do Young Player of the Year awards, then suddenly you would find a Player of the Year Sancho would be much more appealing, and it might fall in line with his future stars. Like Richter, if it was at the start of FIFA, and if he'd bagged a couple informs by now, or even at that stage if he'd bagged a couple informs and he was starting to show the form, this form over a month, and you suddenly say, well, if he's got two informs already, we'll just say for talking sake, so we'll say he's 81, an 86 version of him might not feel so bad. It would be like an alternative to Gnabry and Belarabe and Hazard's inform on the right, but I feel this Player of the Month almost has that kind of like redundant feel about it, which is a bit of a shame really. But I think the Bundesliga Player of the Month will have been fun, despite some of the costings for some of them. I'm looking at Goretzka and Royce, second and third Player of the Month. Sancho not too bad unless you were able to do it on the cheap. But I would honestly say, be prepared for either someone from Leipzig. You could even see Nubel sneak in, Richter or Belfodil. That's my honest feelings regarding it. And as long as you're prepared for like the teams, the league, the nation, and like a rated squad at least. Like, saying that is proven by Cruz, where it was just two routes, being Werder Bremen and Bundesliga, and it being very very cheap in relation for what you were getting. You may see the same happen again with Richter, Belfodil, Nubel, or anyone for that matter, except for really Werner, Gnabry or Sancho. I would say everyone else will kind of fall into a cheap bracket. The rest, like as I said, Werner and Sancho and Gnabry will probably be quite expensive. But it's definitely going to be an interesting waiting game. Bundesliga Player of the Month, I would imagine this will be the very last one, and it will fall on what I've got a rough idea of, the 17th of May. But it may drop the 10th, I wouldn't be surprised on that either. But let me know, folks, down in the comments below. I know, as I said, I've got one, at the time of this going up, the games are still kind of ongoing at the moment, with the weekend, but hopefully this gives you plenty food for thought in terms of who could win the Bundesliga Player of the Month. So let me know, folks, in the comments down below who you would like, roughly what you'd be willing to pay and what you would roughly expect. and I will take it easy all. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you all later for more FIFA 19 content.